Okay, thank you, sir. Shall we start? Our number reached
Yeah,
50.
yeah, okay. I reached 50, I think. We can start now. So that other people will join one by one.
That's true. Okay, welcome, dear participants. We are at the fifth day of our adult program, and we have the same resource person yesterday, our Manjunath Kotari, and we can continue with the tomorrow yesterday's lesson session. Welcome you to new day 5. Thank you, sir. Warm welcome to you also. Thank you. We can start the session now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Once again, thank you, madam, and also all my dear participants for this today's session. I will continue with the yesterday's topic. Yeah. First, I will finish the previous topic, and later I will come to the today's topic. Yesterday topic was meter attack was not completed. So what is this meter attack? Meter attack is actually invented by the MIT Research Establishment Center, and this attack has been invented for the purpose of safeguarding various organizations. It is a defense kind of an attack for stopping the attacks or minimizing the attack. Usually, various organizations, they're cautious about the safeguarding their digital assets as well as the networks. But these adversaries are always one step ahead, always trying with the other new different tactics, and they will target the particular system. And the result is, no matter how hard we wish to defend our systems, one or the other way they are trying to attack anytime or anywhere. What is the meaning of this meter? Meter is MIT Research Establishment. Attack acronym is Adversarial Tactics, Technique, and Common Knowledge, which provides with one framework for enhancing our endpoint security against various evolving threats of the current. What is this framework? It's a kind of a knowledge-based adversary tactics, techniques, and procedures always called as TTPs. T stands for tactics, another T stands for techniques, and P means various methods or procedures. What is the purpose of meter attack? Standardized language for describing all cyber attacks, so that the structure will contain the following things: why the attacks happens, how it will happens, and when or what are the specific methods they use, that means sub techniques. This is the major structure of this meter attack. Various use cases like threat modeling, analysis of the gaps, means our problems, by red blue teaming, also categorizing or classification of the threats. These are some of the use cases. Major benefits here is it improves the test detection, and also we can immediately go with the response incident or incident response one. Meter attack is a globally accessible knowledge-based adversary tactics. It contains TTPs, means tactics, usually representing the objectives and motivations for the action taken by the adversary, and techniques, which represent what are the methods the attackers use to accomplish their tactics, and the procedures means a real world application of techniques, how these attackers are going to implement their methods to get the details of the our network or corporate network. So this is called a pyramid of pain, actually invented by the David Bianco. And according to his pyramid, which contains the three important layers, And basically, there are six total sublayers. The lower part of the layers, which talks about hash values and IP address, whereas the hash values are trivial for the attacker, even little bit easy in case of the IP addresses, but little bit harder kind of a challenging here it is for the attackers is it is domain name systems, and it will give some like a problem for the attackers is network or host artifacts are proper, and these attacks can be stopped with the various tools as well as TTP. TTP means tactics, techniques, and procedures. Very tough time for the particular. This is called as a overall pyramid of pain for the attackers or adversaries. For the purpose of attack has been stopped by using this particular pyramid of pain. What are the basic components of the MIT attack? The framework will contain the seven such components. Tactics, which is gives the what are the various tactics they use these particular intruders during the time of attack. Techniques means answering how to achieve these tactics because adversaries were used to have the various techniques or tactics, and the which will give the technique will give the method name. Sub techniques means various subdivisions of these particular methods, and procedures which explains what how these attacks are made. The mitigation component applied to preventing, detecting as well as responding to each technique. The component called groups means the meter attack tracks various adversary groups and maps them. Means we can classify them separate groups and we can map them to block for the particular attack can be stopped. The seventh component is the software. It lists the various tools and software which is employed by the adversary. So this is how this kind of a TTP works with all these components. The various sub-techniques which includes, for example, the tactic which have like a sub-technique which accomplishes the tactics, various tactics can be known. Similarly, the software which implements by making use of that tactic, and the threat group uses the software, and also sub-technique which uses the threat group for defend against the particular case. And metadata, which includes the various sub-techniques, and that is defined there. And the procedures or examples and included in the like methods, and the mitigation techniques and detection techniques will be included. There are observed TTPs, the tactics, techniques and procedures. This is the a knowledge-based development analytics which we use, and various threat attacks are stopped based on their work and the type of attack. Here it is why this particular method attack can be used. Answers why for adversaries' actions. Always they may take in the three different categories. Enterprise network will be blocked by these people, or a mobile network, or industrial network. So any particular network that can be stopped with the one or the other different methods. Usually enterprise, they may use 12 different tactics. Whether the mobile networks, they may use 13, and industrial things, they will use 11. How the pre-attack will take place first. That means technique-wise, enterprise, mobile, ICS, the different techniques they may use. How these things will be happens in the midterm. The tactics, platform, permissions are required for this for the regular users. Effective permissions will be given for the privileged users and the data resources which provides the various data collections and detection of the technique. What exactly are what are the techniques the adversaries stops can happen? The actual implementation of each techniques, like for example, individual technique as a page for descriptions. Yeah, here is how the implement a meter attack framework into our defense with the 5 different steps. First step is we have to use the reference library with respect to our network systems. Then we need to map defense controls. For example, various red indicates that this is the required uh, space for the attack. That means we need to give the attention to this particular space. Then such things will be mapped for the defense controls. In the step 3, we need to tune the detection. Then also in step 4, we need to give the awareness to the employees of the system or a particular corporate network and emulation of these intruders, which can take place in the 5th step. The major uses is first you can plan your strategy properly. Then we can build our defense systems. After building the defense systems, we need to monitor a type of attacks or a pattern of attacks. We can take it as some of the references as a guide. Then we can determine the type of threats and finding a solutions to eliminate such kind of a threats. And finally, overall, we can assess this particular various vulnerabilities which exists in our system or network system. Again, we can plan for the betterment of the security. The cyber kill chain, which is almost similar to the Twitter attack, which happens in the 7 different steps actually. Reconnaissance means we are going to collecting the data like emails as well as the user credentials. Then they are going to weaponizing means crafting and targeting the cyber weapon like a malware can be installed over the system. Then delivery, sending the weapon by using a phishing or a web links or some of the removable drives that can be shared. And in the step 4, exploitation takes place using the weapon to breach, and they are running the code on the host system to destroy the entire network. And finally, the same malware will be installed over the host systems. In the 6th step, they will take command and control because remotely they will handle all these actions. And at the end, 7th, actions on objectives means executing each one goal. That means data exfiltrations. They may take it from the particular system or a corporate network. How the cyber kill is different from our meter attack. Meter attack, which has an initial access, whereas in the cyber kill chain, it is a reconnaissance collections. But meter attack, which takes place in our defensing system, which uses execution, persistence, privilege escalations, and defense evasion, even the credential access. So discovery, lateral movement, collection, data exfiltrations, command and control, and finally we are go with the impact of entire thing, because one which I already explained in the cycle of meter attack. So this is how the attack flow will take place in the network. Initially, the problem will be defined and following solutions and impact will be monitored. This is the basic of the particular method. Here, the problem means the defenders will often always tracking these intruders. And this system, meter attack system, will automatically collecting all these or tracking all these informations, whereas they are focusing on one specific action at a time rather than going to meet all at a time or addressing all at a time, and they can understand effectively the particular type of problems. Then create a language for the solutions. That means associated tools can be used, and it describes the flows of attacks, techniques, and combine these flows into the patterns of behaviors. Finally, the report will be generated so that defenders and leaders can understand how these intruders operate and compose our automatic techniques into the attacks, so that we can understand it in a better posture way. This is the impact of the attack flow. So that is why we are using the following steps in that. The three phases of steps are used. Like first phase, which includes reconnaissance and weaponizations. And in the second step, intrusion detection by using the delivery, exploitation, and installation methods that can be monitored. And finally, they are using the breaching systems so that the breach phase will find out command and control, and their future actions are monitored here. So the main aim of this meter attack is to create a diamond model. So this diamond model will give the four-way representations. One side, it gives the what kind of a people attacking the network, means adversary classifications, whether an individual person or a group of people are targeting our network. And in the second aspect, in this diamond model, there is a capability of these adversaries, means whether they have the malware installations or already exploited with some problems. And third parties of this particular diamond model, which includes infrastructures. What infrastructures they are targeting, whether only the IPs, that means IP addresses of the host systems, or domain names of these host systems. And the fourth category, which gives the fourth corner of our diamond model, which signifies that whether the victim is an individual or an entire network, like a corporate network. So in each steps, the diamond model has been drawn. So the first types of graph, which gives that a dotted line, which says that attack graph, that is possible attack graph. And second diamond representations, which shows that a solid rhombus, always it represents already the active attack is taken place. So this overall graph, which gives that in each step, for example, reconnaissance phase, there are two diamonds, and which gives that informations, whether who is the victim and what is the adversary capacity and which infrastructure they are collecting. Similarly, in the weaponization, so who are the adversaries for these people, and what weapons they are using, like whether they use malware or anything, and how they deliver this, whether they installed or they just know trying to exploit anything. So the exploitation will give the more answer, and installation command control will give here, and finally what is their actions on these particular objectives. So this graph will able to track these kind of it in a meter attack. So this uh, gives the entire differences between cyber kill chain and meter attack. Usually the origin is a look ahead Martin kind of things in a cyber kill chain, whereas meter attack, it is a research establishment has given. But the focus of meter attacks is trying to understand the techniques of the intruders. Whereas in cyber kill chain, they are going to understand all the attack life cycle. The structure is different. Whereas in kill chain may use the linear structure, but whereas in the case of the non-linear uh, types is used in the meter attack systems. And the granularity is high, whereas in the case of the meter attack, that means high level, whereas in the cyber kill chain is a generalized one. Applications means meter attack can be used in the various analysis, like trying to understand the threats as well as detect the threats, and also making a red teaming, like categorizing red and blue teaming. The dangerous one we can categorize separately, and also we can make use of the forensic analysis. Whereas in the case of the cyber kill chain, a threat intelligence is understood because of the various, for example, even incident response also can be understood. That is applications. Whereas in the life cycle of the coverage means which focus on external network based attacks in the cyber, but it focus on comprehensive from initial access to impact. And this meter attack can be used by both the teams, blue and red teams, even a threat hunters and IR teams also, incident response team also. Whereas the cyber kill chain is used by threat intelligence analysts as well as incident responders. That is about the meter attack. Now I will start with the phishing and biting. Phishing is a fraudulent communication. It's mainly designed for the purpose of stealing credentials or data of any person. There are four categories: spear phishing, link phishing, attachment phishing, and voice phishing. Whereas the biting takes place, it is going to give the chances for the various victims in such a way that by offers like free downloads, or they may keep some infected USBs on public place, or sending various links on WhatsApp or any other social medias. Like that, this is called biting. The impact of both of these is credential theft, ransomware infection, as well as data breach. The phishing attack is a type of cyber attack usually. Here the attackers will use social engineering, and it is very hard to deceive, and they trying to impersonations, and they are going to use psychological tactics for the convincing the particular victim. Phishing techniques which uses impersonations, urgency, and deceptive links and attachments. Usually, the person who is sending the phishing email maybe pretend to be someone you know or a trust, and also they are having an urgency of your account will be locked. Act now immediately. Such kind of a messages they may pass. And this, they also sending the a fake login pages, links, or some invoice files, etc. The impact will be directly financial fraud, most of the cases, and serious data breaches of a company or an individual, or identity theft of a person or a company's details, even ransomware or malware infection, and steep operational downtime and reputational damage for the brand of the company. How do the phishing attacks work? The phishing attack works in the following way. Initially, attacker will send an email to the user. User will click on that particular link and it directly go to the phishing website, and then attacker collect the user credentials, and the attacker uses credentials to the login, and they are going to store it in their database. The types of phishing can be following. Email is a common one. A spear phishing means directly targeting the particular user or a particular network, are also called as a whaling. Whaling means they are targeting the chief person of the company, like a CEO or CFO or such people. They are trying to install such or getting the information of that person. Next, clone phishing, like already one email is sent to the same user, and in the follow-up email will going to damage the system. And also SMS phishing is there, that is called smishing, and voice phishing, always called wishing, even HTTP phishing and pop-up phishing. Is whereas in the clone phishing, a legitimate phishing it is, and it is previously delivered email is copied and altered by replacing the attachments or links with the malicious versions. Here, attackers used to resend the email to the same victim, and they are trying to trust the familiar content, and unknowingly the victim is interact with the harmful elements. Whereas in the HTTPS phishing, attacker use HTTPS websites, and these websites will always appear secure, and but they are fake, and it looks like genuine one, and but these are fake one. As the user see what looks like a secure and legitimate site, and always they are going to give their credentials in that. Whereas in the pop-up phishing, most of the this kind of a phishing involves malicious pop-ups windows. They are prompting users for login information or any other sensitive data, and these will mimic legitimate login forms of any particular uh, website. The phishing trends as on today. In 2020-25, phishing landscape is very dangerous, and also it is a dynamic than the earlier system. Whereas in the nowadays we have a phishing, which is kind of a voice phishing attacks, and they are surging and capitalizing on rising use of a remote IT support, because the AI tools they are going to use for this kind of a phishing, and it always mimics the same person, one who you trust on the other side. They will call with their photos or any other things, and finally the users will become the victim of this particular target. Even captcha shielding, most of the attackers nowadays integrating captchas on the phishing websites, because this gives them a trustworthy mechanism for these users. So they are going to bypass an automated detection. Next, they use AI tools like fake AI bots can be used, or portals which always mimics a trendy platforms. Crypto scams, most of the time fraudulent. They exchange like even cryptocurrencies, wallet signups. So they may use these kind of a new techniques nowadays in the group. How an organizations can withstand with this kind of attacks, phishing and biting. They can use, as yesterday I told, two-factor authorization or multi-factor authorizations. Strict password policy can be used. Even anti-phishing training for employees may use. Some of the best practices which can prevent the phishing attacks means be wary of hyperlinks and attachments in an email. Next, always we have a backup system copies of the any particular individual system or a network systems. Always you need to ensure the HTTPS connections and always install a very good firewall system in the network, and or you can use some anti-spam solutions also. What is biting? Biting is a cyber scam which uses an attractive offers for users, such as a free movie downloads or USB drives left on public, to trick the individuals into compromising their securities. Usually, these biting techniques offers and often contain malicious software designed. They are trying to get the personal data of a particular person, and these kind of a biting, which preys on human curiosity and greed, so that making people act before thinking about their risk. It is a unique and how it exploits your desire for something free or exclusive. The key target of this biting, they may target on individuals also, like because they take the advantage of the curiosity of the free items. Outcome here is they use the personal information of the person, or they may install some malwares on the systems. Whereas in the businesses, why they are targeting? Because trying to access some sensitive corporate data. Outcome, they may compromise the systems or sell these data or exploit the data. And so, also they can target on the organizations, because they wanted to access some valuable data in the government agencies and institutions, like Aadhaar is one of the things. So such kind of data they may target, and finally they gain access to the networks and finally steal or sell this data for the other parties. Various prevention methods. First of all, we need to educate the employees about these tactics. Next, always you need to avoid the links from unknown sources. Always we used to check the email where which place, whether it is a known email or unknown email, that you have to check properly. Keep the security software updated. That is very, very important, and it should run in your system always. And always you have to scan all external devices for the particular malware. Then report any suspicious activity to the IT department. What is the difference between biting and phishing? So phishing uses trust-like posing as a member of staff, whereas biting uses some temptations like a free offers for the users by using an virus system. The common things between these is totally phishing and biting is to trick the user into compromising the data only. The deception tactics will be many, and the tactics of an organization's main purpose is to misleading an attackers and the gathering the intelligence. The techniques can be, we can make use of the honeypots or decoy servers or some fake credentials. Benefits of this deception techniques means early attack detection is possible, so that our cost will be reduced. Incident response team may not to take any actions if it is a early action detection. And we can integrate this particular deception tactic with the mid-term attack, so that we can map to the discovery and command and control phases of the mid-term attack. And real world application, we can use it in the threat hunting and active defense systems. So the first step is here is threat detection and incident response. How these threats are detected? By using decoy interaction. Maybe real-time monitoring is required on the other hand. Further, we need to identify the attack vectors, then need to generate the high fidelity alerts. The incident response activation should take place for a particular threat detection and incident response time. This is one the case study, like insider threat mitigation, how we can stop all those things. So let us see, there are two important target entities. One is insider threat attack actor. Another is a person, the security team actually, or a particular team who is going to look at the particular these activities. And what the security team will do is, the security team will make a one honey tokens in the internal networks. And these internal honey tokens are trying to get the main intention of this is to find out the internal threat actor who is going to uh, interact with the outside one. They are going to start with the decoy assets and byte credentials of this particular insider threat will take place initially. Then security team will get a security alarm through the honey tokens, which is generated for the purpose of finding who is the insider threat actor. So this is called insider threat mitigation activity. And here, if this particular honey tokens will give an offer to this particular insider threater by sending a free offers, and that for free offers he is going to compromise with a company data or something, and finally, and these honey tokens will offer this particular insider threat actor and trying to get that information by these honey tokens. Actually, these honey tokens are handled by the internal security team only. So this is the way the security teams are finding the internal threats actor, or this is the one of the way for the mitigation. Here is the steps here. First, they deploy the byte credentials and honey tokens as a first step. Second step, they use to monitor usual activities and interactions with the decoy assets of this particular actor. Third, they are providing some detailed forensic data. And another way to avoid this particular, another way of a deception technology, what we can use is ransomware defense. Usually ransomware viruses are dangerous, so that we can use deception technique to divert these kind of a ransomware attacks. Just like in a proxy server, how we use the proxy server, and the user or sorry attacker is trying to attack on a server, and they are attacking only the proxy server. Likewise, this is a kind of an ransomware attackers attention diverse systems by using the decoy files. Credential theft prevention is a one more kind of a deceptive technology which helps to solve the problem of creating fake credentials. and decoy accounts that look legitimate to the attackers. Next, how to stop these kind of a zero-day attacks or exploit. So the deception technology, which offers some of the reliable solutions by delivering, enticing the target, designed to identify these exploits in a real time, so that we can mitigate this zero-day attack by making use of this deception technology. And finally, the active threat intelligence and forensics. So, which use of by the one more type of a deception technology used to use the or analyze the threat intelligence and carrying out through the forensics. That is about the fighting and phishing. Now I will like to start with the today's topic, that is vulnerability assessment. Any doubts or any questions for the previous topic, or meter attack or phishing and biting? Can I continue with the next topic? So OpenVAS. It is a open vulnerability assessment scanner systems. This is an open source system only. So what is this vulnerability assessment? The vulnerability assessment is analysis of weaknesses of any particular network or a host systems. Why this is required means, which analysis will give various threats for the particular assets, and this kind of a vulnerability means reduces the risk of the system or a network. So usually risk has been calculated, means for number of assets into number of threats into number of vulnerabilities. If one system is vulnerable, the entire network can. So what is that vulnerability assessment? The vulnerability assessment is a process which is going to identify or classifying or addresses the security weaknesses in an organization's IT systems. The vulnerability assessment is a regular monitoring of a cyber security defense systems. Here, the organizations can fix these issues by uncovering vulnerabilities. Like, for example, covert vulnerabilities can be fixed by making use of the vulnerability assessment, or misconfigurations can be found out, or outdated softwares need to be scanned here, or any security gaps involved that can be, because tomorrow the security gaps may give the chance for the attackers on attack on the particular network. Why we need network vulnerability scanning? Why it is very important? So it going to detect anomalies, means detecting and classifying the system weaknesses, whether it's a single system, whether it is a network system. Various anomalies can be monitored and detected and taken care of removal of such kind of anomalies. And it provides, the vulnerability assessment provides a proactive mitigation. Why? Because all these vulnerability assessment already scheduled and automated in the system. During the installation time only, we have to make that configurations, schedule time. For example, every day, this particular time, we need to make the vulnerability scan. And it is a kind of an automated system. We need not to enable each and every time. If you are going to make every 6 hour such kind of a vulnerability scanning, or 3 hours, or a 24 hours, it left to the particular organization. And also, it is going to inspect the entire attack surface. How? Because it is going to compare the target attack surface of to a database system. Means whether the target attacker is going to attack your database system, or whether he is going in depth, or whether he is only collecting the lower level informations. And why this kind of a vulnerability scanning is required or important? Because it gives the compliance report for the cyber security and legislations for any particular company. So it gives an compliance report as per the cyber security regulations, so that it gives a safer side for the vulnerability assessment, which happens regularly in the particular organization. It provides a cost saving, means any early detection of vulnerabilities will reduce harm to the particular system, so that incident response team is not to no need to respond the things with the cost, so that they can already detected this kind of a vulnerabilities. And this vulnerability scanning will offer continuous monitoring, like any change in security measures with response to the new threats, like emerging threats, that can be stopped with this. And also which give the safeguard to reputation of the companies. Means so businesses will continue as per the particular systems, or the particular assets of the organizations will remain same. How does vulnerability assessment work? Okay. Any doubts so far? Okay. How does this vulnerability assessment will work, or scanning will work? The vulnerability assessment process typically involves these steps, like identification and classification, and analysis, the risk assessment, and remediation. These are the 4 different steps the vulnerability assessment will take place. So let us see the one of the case study, a corporate network, how these vulnerability scanning will take place. There are different types of vulnerability scanning. One is external category, another is the internal category. Whereas in the internal scanning or a vulnerability scanning, it is going to scan within the firewalls, means switch or a server or a workstation, or all the different users which is present in the corporate network. The external scan, which is going to targeting on various server as well as web server, because most of the emails which will pass through this particular internal, that is firewall systems, through these external email server only. And even internal email server is also we have to make some kind of a external scanning. Okay, what are the 5 signs of any organization? They require vulnerability scanning. So these are the 5 signs. First one is outdated software systems. Most of the organizations will use legacy systems and outdated softwares. Then these are often targets for these attackers due to their lack of recent security updates. Another sign is cyber security incident increases. In particular organization, more number of cyber security threats are there means you need to do the vulnerability assessment for that particular network. It's required. That means need of the hour. Expanding attack surface. With the new technologies as well as expand your network, the potential entry point for the attackers will increases. Next sign is which gives that a regulatory compliance requirement. Any industry which mandates some regulatory security assessment, it is a crucial for to stay the compliant, to avoid the fines and many more. No recent security audit has been conducted. That means you need require in your organization a vulnerability scanning or assessment. The different categories which included, one is the network-based scanning tools, host-based scanning tools, and wireless network scanning tools, the application scanning tools, and database scanning tools. These are the major categories of this. Let us will look into the one by one. Network-based scanners or assessment. These network-based scanners are mainly designed for the examinations of the organization's infrastructure. That means network infrastructures. How? There are four steps we can have the scanning. One is need to do the port scanning. That means during the time of port scanning, we can identify the various open ports. Actually, these open ports are entry point for these attackers. Next, service detection. And during this time of a scanning, which determines which services and applications are running on open ports, that can be identified. And third important types under this network-based scanners is configuration checking, so that this assessment gives a report of a assess network devices, like how many routers, firewalls are under the misconfigurations. Means some of the important files are allowed outside, or some of the files like infected files are coming inside because of these misconfigurations. Next, vulnerability identifications. We is always going to compare the discovered services and configurations against the database of the vulnerability. Next, we have host-based scanners. The host-based scanners focus on individual servers or a workstations or an individual devices. What are they are going to scanning? The first thing is they scan for unpatched softwares. So first it detecting outdated software and operating systems, and these outdated software and operating systems may have known vulnerabilities. Then they use to check system configurations, evaluate the system settings and configurations for identifying the potential security weaknesses. Then analyze the file integrity, whether any new file has been present inside the host, or any particular critical file has been modified by an intruder. All these things need to be scanned here. Next, detecting the malware systems means identification of a malware infections or any suspicious activities, so that to avoid this compromisation of the system security. Application scanners. It is focused on a specific tools. So these assess the security of web applications especially. So it can be done in the three different steps. One is examining the application code. Without executing it, we can have the finding vulnerabilities like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, that is by using the static analysis. Next, dynamic analysis means test the application while running so that it gives the some or detecting some of the issues, so that can be avoided here. Third one is API security testing. In this security testing, it is going to evaluate the security of the application. For example, APIs which provide the various insecure, for example, issues, insecure data handling or improper authentications. Another type of scanning is database scanners. In this, they are designed to analyze the security of some of the critical databases. In this database, it is performing the following types of jobs. The assessment, first assessment, which is going to give the review about the configurations, means checking misconfigurations that could expose database to unauthorized access or attacks. Data encryptions means whatever the sensitive data is sending by the users are encrypted in during the transmission or during the storing, and that is mainly to protect it from some of the unauthorized access. The next database scanners, what it do is user privileges. It is going to give a review report about a database user accounts and what are the types of permissions they have. Like user privileges is given only to view option, or only with the view and edit option is given, or based on that, the privilege of the user, it is going to scan the particular system. Next, patch management. Various outdated database softwares will takes place, and such kind of things will be identified here. Finally, the cloud-based assessment or scanners. Nowadays, the cloud-based scanners are very important because of it will perform the following jobs. One is the cloud configuration checks, means assessing the cloud infrastructure settings, that is mainly to identify the misconfigurations. Because of these misconfigurations, cloud misconfiguration of the cloud lead to the security breaches, means entire cloud data can be deleted or entire cloud data can be taken by the intruder. So API security, which evaluate the security of a cloud-based APIs, that is to ensure they are protected against unauthorized access and data leakage. The third type of scanning in the cloud basing is identifying and access management. This reviews usually the cloud user permissions and access controls to prevent unauthorized access. The cloud service provider security. So it's going to give the analysis on security posture of the present cloud services, which is provided by the third party vendors, because all these cloud providers depending on the one more party, that is third party vendors, and based on that they are providing the services to the users here, and during that services, these cloud service providers need to take care about the scanning. They are not rely on the third party vendors. They have to ensure the meet the security standards by the third party vendors or not. If not, they can block the such kind of a third parties. What are the vulnerability testing processes? The testing process which takes place in three different phases. Phase number 1 is called planning phase. Another is discovery phase. And also we have the analysis and reporting phase. What is there in the planning phase? The planning phase, which is a kind of a vulnerability testing process beginning. So the careful planning is very important. So here we are going to define scope of the testing, that is vulnerability testing. What is the scope and what are the main objectives after the testing, and what are the methodologies that can be used to make sure the testing aligns with the organization security goals as well as the compliance requirements. And further, the second phase is called discovery phase. During the discovery phase, we are going to first collect the informations. So it automatically scanning tools will manually testing techniques will identify the potential weaknesses. That means collect the informations. That is weakness informations across the IT infrastructure. And further, with comprehensive assessment provides a detailed understanding of the organization's attack surface. So which is the attack area, or we can identify the particular vulnerable area. In the third phase, that is called as analysis and reporting. It is going to identify vulnerabilities, analyze it to understand their potential impact. What is the impact of this, like this kind of a vulnerabilities, whether it's harmful or not, and we need to prioritize them based on the type of like impact. Impact analysis is done here. Based on the impact analysis, we can take some response, that is incident response thing, whether to detect based on the priority. And a detailed report has been generated during this time, that is to outline the findings of the vulnerability and their severity, how much they are severe, and we can give some kind of a remediations. That means solutions for a particular type of attack or a severity. Based on the severity only we can take. So this is the detailed process which gives the vulnerability assessment scan process, which involves first initial with the data collection to the report analysis. The first phase, which involves the discovery, later scanning the port, next identify the service fingerprint, similarly OS fingerprinting, unconfirmed vulnerability checks and confirmed vulnerability checks, further policy checks and report analysis. Vulnerability assessment is a kind of a scan process which involves these 7 steps, which is listed here. And first step is the discovery. What this particular discovery will do? The asset discovery means it uses the following tactics to scan this particular assessment. That means vulnerability assessment will take place for the target, whether the target system is alive or not, by making use of the following commands. One is using ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol, or Address Resolution Protocol pinging, and TCP as well as the UDP ping also. We can discover the system, whether it is discover the target system, whether it is a present or not. Next, port scanning to identify the open ports. Main aim is to identify vulnerable ports. Open ports are nothing but the vulnerable ports only. By making use of the Nmap, means one such a library or a tools that can be used. Likewise, we have the many such OpenVAS and other things are there. And SS is also one more type of thing. Here, the network port scanner will make use of the TCP scan or a synchronization scan or UDP scan. It depends on the port number. Maybe we are going to use port number 1 to 65,535 port numbers. Local port enumerators. They can make use of the following protocols: SSH protocol, WMI protocol, or SNMP protocols. Service fingerprinting. What type of services provided by the target system? And this section includes settings of that particular attempt to map each open port during this particular service. Maybe it is an email service, whether it is a file service, or it is a kind of a various like a streaming services, anything, so that we can attempt to find whether it is a open port. These services are given in a open port or not. That is called as service fingerprinting. There are methods or maybe many, like we can make use of the banner grabbing as well as the IP stack analysis. So service fingerprinting for customer configurations, we can make use of the map custom port for the service based on the service names, or we can make use of the default service properties. OS fingerprinting, like service fingerprinting, we can also identify the operating systems. Which operating systems are used by the target systems? Like collected from the previous scan stages, the scan attempts to guess which operating system is running and matching of this fingerprint against the data which is returned from the various network pairs. So it is simple to extract some of the useful information from the web server banners, and we can make use of the Nmap. Whereas Nmap O indicates that OS detection, which enables the OS detection only. Next two steps, which involves unconfirmed vulnerability checks as well as the vulnerability checks. Whereas in the unconfirmed vulnerability checks, it is basically including a checks based on the patch and the version information. If it is the older version, then we need to like update the patch. And these checks will determine that version of a software. And it is known to have an issue, but does not confirm the specific issue which exists here. Maybe example that version of the software which ships with the default password, so that the check could determine that version of the software is present and may have default credentials even if the credentials has been already been changed. Whereas in the case of the confirmed vulnerability checks, which may go step further than the unconfirmed, such a way that by making use of the specifying the specific OS. So here in confirmed vulnerability checks, we need to know exact the specific OS system or specific application has been a vulnerability, or a specific OS has an vulnerability, or a specific version of the software is having a vulnerability. That is called the confirmed checks. Common vulnerabilities and risk. The common vulnerabilities are outdated softwares. That is the one thing. Next, weak passwords. Then unpatched vulnerabilities and configuration issues. What are the effective vulnerability management practices? The effective vulnerability management practices involve these 4 steps. One is the regular routine testing need to be conducted. or the vulnerability testing, always called as vulnerability routine work, because most of the quarterly or semi-annually vulnerability testing, which helps the organizations stay ahead of emerging threats or ensure that their security posture remains robust. And prioritizations. We need to more focus on most critical vulnerabilities first, based on the report, the based on the severity, based on the impactness. We need to prioritize a particular vulnerable unit. And comprehensive coverage, ensuring that all these aspects of the IT infrastructures, maybe routers, database, web applications, networks, endpoints, these are thoroughly tested for this is a kind of a comprehensive coverage of entire network. Training and awareness, yes. We need to educate the people who is using these kind of a systems or a corporate networks, like most of the employees. That is the more important. In OpenVAS is a kind of one type of a tool for the particular vulnerability assessment. OpenVAS stands for Open Vulnerability Assessment System. In this vulnerability assessment system, a software framework which includes several services, and it is a tool which offers vulnerability scanning as well as also it manages the vulnerabilities. And all these OpenVAS products are free softwares. That is what is the open source. And most of the components are licensed under the GNU General Public License. Means plugins for OpenVAS are written in the Nessus attack scripting language. What are the benefits of this? The benefits, major benefits are OpenVAS is a open source and which makes use of the Nessus version 2 as its plugin engine. And it is compatible with the different operating systems. And also it gives history of previous scans. The limitations of this OpenVAS is which gives more false negative informations in the report, and it determines or finds less number of vulnerabilities as compared to the other open source tools like Nessus or Nexpose, and it requires 2 to 3 services to perform this vulnerability assessment in a better way. This is just an overview. Okay. OpenVAS architecture. The architecture of the OpenVAS is broadly classified in 3 different layers. First layer talks with the clients, entities, and second is talks with the service entities, and the third layer talks with the database entities. Okay. Usually, in the scan will targets or scan targets of a particular system or a network. How they will do this? Actually, there are 3 different layers are there. The client versions, of course, client VAS CLI entity, and one more entity called as a Greenbone Security Assistant. Whereas OpenVAS CLI is a set of tools which allows some of the administration of the OpenVAS tool through the shell only. Whereas the second one is called as a Greenbone Security Assistant. The Greenbone Security Assistant is a kind of a web-based tool so that an intuitive interface of the various vulnerability assessment that you are making. And the third one is Greenbone Security Desktop. Which is a Greenbone Desktop Security will give an GUI interface. and that is the client parts. And further, it will goes to the service part entity. In the service entity, there are three entities are there. OpenVAS scanner entity, but OpenVAS manager entity and administrator. But administrator will collect the information from the Greenbone security desktop, and similarly, the manager entity will collect security assistant. And these things are results. Everything is deployed or stored in the database, even configurations also, and that can be retrieved by the OpenVAS manager at any time. And further, it will goes to the OpenVAS scanner, and the scanner will make use of the network uh, uh, network vulnerability tests. Network vulnerability tests are the test cases of the different network systems, and that will be used by the OpenVAS scanner. These are the components already explained, service components. It's a scanner component. Usually scanner component which allows scan of the host name with the, of course, it is a IP along with the port number is an example. The manager entity is the main entity because heart of the OpenVAS is the manager entity, and administrator entity is a component which through which users can manage the various updates like inputs. Data components, it is a NVTs, it's a container feed. Most of the test cases that detect the vulnerabilities, which are currently over 20,000, and that is deployed in the, these are the test cases which is present in that. And results and configurations are the PostgreSQL system database. It reports, which contains the various reports, which is collected, and entire configuration though is stored in that. OpenVAS feeds are daily synchronized through the cloud systems, so that it makes use of the three different types. NVTs is the one type of a data feeds. A SCAP is the another type. CERT is the one more type. What is this NVTs? NVTs means network vulnerability test cases. Similarly, SCAP in the sense security content automation protocol. Third one is computer emergency response team. How we can conduct a vulnerability assessment using the OpenVAS. Okay. First, we need to setting up the Kali for vulnerability scanning, so that I cannot give this in a demonstration here. So I will be giving the snapshots of that. This is the first step of setting up a Kali with the vulnerability scanning. And further, we can start with the services by using the command called netstat ANTP and OpenVAS start. Step 1, we can connect to the OpenVAS web interface. So through this, we can connect the, like, of course, with the help of admin login, the user login, we can take place. You will be prompted through this particular dashboard of the Greenbone security assistant. And finally, we have different tabs are there. The step 2, the tabs which is explanation about the administration tab, that is for adding users or a various groups or a roles of the different people, and it updates the vulnerability network vulnerability tests like NVTs, security content automation protocol, and computer emergency response team feeds. The administration tab, which contains the following feeds already, which is explained in the previous steps. Adding new users, similarly, other configuration tab, which includes targets and port lists and credentials, and scan configurations, alerts and schedules, as well as the permissions. This is the configuration tab. Next, another set of tabs for information management tab, security information management tab, which include security information dashboard, network vulnerability test cases, common vulnerabilities and exposure CVs, and explanation of scan management, which include what are the tasks it does, what kind of reports it does, and what is the final result. Step 3 is the scanning, which uses the procedures like new target, like creating a target and a new task, as well as the scanning will takes place, and perform the vulnerability scanning using the OpenVAS. In this way, executing these commands will update the Greenboard database. So this will give the type of the following the terminal window and press enter, like a sudo gvm -start. So the Firefox browser will open automatically, and if you click advanced, the Greenboard Security Assistant login page will display, and it will use this particular dashboard, which include tasks, reports, results, various vulnerabilities, and nodes and overrides. And this task page is displayed. We can click on the task web wizard on the upper left side, just below the menu, and we can configure the host name here by clicking on the IP address, and we need to wait for till the scanning is complete. This will may take usually a 10 minutes time for scanning, depending on the network as well as the host on which we use. And these are the results, ultimate results we will get in the particular type of systems. Means with the red indicates with the more number of dangerous vulnerabilities. Likewise, we can select the ports also, port scanning also find out here, and that will be available in this repo. All these things, severity, case I not go through this one because it is similar to that one, because already time got over, and this particular open source software is used by the Tenable, which scans for security vulnerability. Yeah. Any queries? Thank you. I have finished on time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your session.
Okay.
If participants have any doubt, they can raise the question now of this session or previous day session.
Yeah.
My question is, which are the tools we must procure to ensure the security of a system in an academic institution?
Yeah.
And which are the open source available?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
These are the open source, actually. OpenVAS and Nessus and Ness Expose. These are the open source one, and of course these are licensed one with the open licenses. But there are few things are enabled along with our firewall systems, so that may helpful, because it depends on the firewall also. If you have a firewall system like a cyber roam is a one such firewall systems, so in that they are embedded with this kind of a systems like vulnerability assessment systems that can be procured one for the organizations, so that it will give the more informations about the, because if the same firewall systems if you use, it is more compatible also, like with the entire network, organization network.
Actually, how we have to do the test if we are distributed so many laptops for the faculty and they are using here and there, and while they are coming back from other network, what procedure we must take to ensure the security of the system of a network in the college, like academic institute.
Yeah. For example, cyber roam is a one kind of a firewall systems are there. In that, we need to register the faculty laptops or any student laptops with the MAC addresses. That is the first stage. And later, we can add these users to the same vulnerability assessment tool. And that tool will gives more information about any kind of a problems which happens inside the network, so that it is a profiled one in a particular. By adding the users, you can make the profiles here in your tool, so that any outside people are trying to enter or any unknown people are entered, then it will be easily detected. So most of the times it is a requirement of the particular adding user in the particular system, like a network system, by making use of the this only. Like as I shown here in this earlier, adding user is very important here in this. I hope somewhere here. Adding users and groups or roles. This is the case. You can add. Similarly, the cyber roam is one of the proprietary software actually, and that will give the more security than this kind of a open source one. But open source also better will give the results in such a way that how you configure with the existing firewall systems. That is more important. Any other things?
Any questions or clarification required, or participants can propose their feedback here also.
Thank you.
If any doubt, kindly raise your hand. Otherwise, we have to stop this session, and the resource person is waiting.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, all of you.
Sir, I would like to convey my regards on behalf of this course and Government Engineering College Wayanad for conducting a resource less session for us. And you conducted 2 sessions for us, and it was very informative and supporting. And we will give you all success in future also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ranjan. Thank you. Thank you, one and all, for providing me an opportunity for serve as a resource person in this ATAL FDP conducted by the Government Engineering College of Wayanad. I'm thankful for the entire management and HOD and all the faculty members, and more especially my thanks to all the faculty members who have attended in their evening sessions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, Hiran, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Whether participants require a 5-minute break? Otherwise, we can start the session now.
We could break for 5 minutes, no problem, ma'am.
Actually, we had to give a 5-minute break.
It's fine, madam. No problem. I'll wait. That's fine.
Okay, we can have a 5-minute break. Respected participants, kindly join in this group after 2-3 minutes, please. In between, any participant have any feedback or messages they can convey here also. Tomorrow we have 3 sessions and we have to test also that is shown in the group icon itself. The schedule is given there. I will read it for your convenience. Tomorrow we have to start at 2 p.m. itself, 2 to 3:30, then 3:30 to 5. When one more session is there, 3 sessions will be there tomorrow. 2 to 3:30, 3:30 to 5, then 5 to 6:30, 3 sessions will be there. After that, 6:30 to 7:30, we have an online test and feedback session. Then 7:30 to 8, we will have valedictory function. And we will provide a Google form. Through that, we are conducting the test and we will share it to the group at 6:30. And we will get 1 hour. And you have to secure 70% mark to be eligible for the certificate. And after 7:30, we can have a short valedictory session. But don't forget to join these 3 sessions because it's a Saturday. They given the schedule timing as from 2 to 6:30 p.m. Then 6:30 to 7:30 we have test also. And I hope all the participants are convenient with the materials sent to you from. I asked to provide 5 questions from each session, and we will select any 3 questions sent by the faculty resource persons, and that way we prepared the question paper, and it will be mandatory to have 70% mark to be eligible for the adult certification. That I think all of you become prepared and be serious about the examination. That then only we can generate the certificate from the adult portal. That's my humble request. Any more? It's a MCQ based test. And any more clarification, kindly raise your query.
Ma'am, please tell about the feedback also. They need to upload their feedback in AICT portal. No?
After the test, you have to upload the feedback in the AICT portal. After uploading mark and your feedback is completed, then only you will get the certificate. You can generate the certificate from the portal itself. Maybe some of you may be familiar with the procedure. Others, be careful to provide the feedback as you log in into the ATAL portal using your participant username, and in that you will receive a feedback link. Any other doubt? Is it possible to give a tools in a drive? We didn't collected these tools. Actually, they are open source, and it will be better we can search and find from the net. Otherwise, it will be consume much memory. OpenVAS and SS. We can directly download. That will be a better thing. Yes, surely we will try to provide the links for the same. Okay. Shall we start the session, madam?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Now it's, I think, 5 minutes or.
Okay. Dear participants, and good evening. Sir, good evening. Before starting the session, let me introduce Dr. Hiran Nath, our resource person for the next session. Sir is Dr. Hiran Nath. Sir is an assistant professor in the Computer Science and Engineering Department of National NIT Calicut. Sir did his BTech from University of Kerala, and after that, Sir did his MTech in cybersecurity from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Coimbatore. He secured his PhD in computer science from the Institute for Development and Research in Banking Technology (IDRBT), established by the Reserve Bank of India in association with the University of Hyderabad. Sir's work focused on novel approaches for surveillance of advanced persistent threat. After that, Sir worked in industry also. Sir worked as software engineer at the Indian Space Organization (ISRO) through high-rel fabs, and Sir also worked as manager malware analyst at the Reserve Bank of Information Technology Private Limited (REBIT) Navi Mumbai, and other than this, Sir has two patents in his credit related to malware detection and prevention, Indian and also US patent. Then Sir has published his research research in prominent journals, including Information System Frontiers, and presented numerous IEEE and international conferences on topics like malware analysis, ensemble learning, and network vulnerability assessment. Sir's expertise lies in cybersecurity with a strong focus on malware analysis, advanced persistent threats, and digital forensics. We are very happy to have you, sir, for today's session. We welcome you to this session, this FDP session, sir.
Thank you, madam, for that detailed introduction. Okay.
Welcome.
So I'll start the section.
Okay, sir, you can proceed.
Okay, I'll share the slide also.
Okay.
I'm actually keeping two machines, so just to give. Okay, so my topic of today's presentation is penetration testing tools, and like I'll be also saying some exploitation technique procedures which we'll be using. So hope I am audible, right? My audio is fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So like earlier, I think your sections were related to the vulnerability assessment, right? So like what is difference between vulnerability assessment and penetration testing? Like most of us generally gets confused on what it is. What is vulnerability assessment and what is penetration? Because we generally say it as a vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So, but it's so couple of things is there which I'd like to discuss here is before going further is whether we are allowed to do